Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is the MBTI personality type assessment of Keanu Reeves. When it comes to the 16 MBTI personality types, they can be grouped into four main ones. The first one are sensor judgers, the second, sensor perceivers, the third, intuitive thinkers, and the last one, intuitive feelers. To me, Keanu Reeves comes across as a sensor perceiver, and I will explain why. Again, I have some notes on screen so I don't miss anything. Keanu Charles Reeves was born on September the 2nd, 1964 in Beirut, Lebanon. He is now 57 years old. He is a Canadian actor raised in Toronto. His mother is British and a costume designer performer, and his father is a Hawaiian. His parents divorced in 1966, and his mother remarried 3 other times. He has 3 sisters, and he described himself as a child as a private kid. Reeves attended 4 different high schools, and he was not really well suited for the system because he said he was expelled actually from one of his high schools because he said he was just too rambunctious. At De La Salle College, he was a successful ice hockey goalkeeper, and Reeves had aspirations to become a professional ice hockey player for the Canadian Olympic team, but decided to become an actor when he was 15 years old. He dropped out of high school when he was only 17 years old, and he obtained a green card through one of his stepfathers and moved to Los Angeles 3 years later. So he holds Canadian citizenship still. So he began acting in theater production and in television films before making his feature debut in Young Blood in 1986. He had his breakthrough role in the science fiction comedy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 1989. He has appeared in a number of well-known movies such as My Own Private Idaho, Point Break, Speed, The Devil's Advocate, The Matrix, obviously I think everyone knows this one, Constantine, The Lake House, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Street Kings, and John Wick's film series. Reeves has directed a movie. The title was Men of Tai Chi in 2013. He has an estimated net worth of $360 million. He has played bass guitar for the band Dogstar, so he is involved in music as well. Keanu Reeves is a smoker and usually appears rather nervous during interviews, so maybe he smokes to calm his nerves. He has been called Hollywood's ultimate introvert, and also he has been described as being an workaholic, charming, but also very shy. In 1999, unfortunately, his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Symes, gave birth to a daughter, and she was stillborn. And in 2001, Symes actually was killed in a vehicle accident. So that was rather traumatic for him. And he has been romantically linked to Brenda Davis. She's a filmmaker and a longtime friend, and also model actress China Chow. Since 2019, he is romantically linked to a lady called Alexandra Grant, and Reeves is rather discreet when it comes to his spiritual beliefs, and he's saying that for him it's a personal and private matter, that he doesn't have to talk about that. And also he supports a number of charities and causes. For instance, his sister was diagnosed with leukemia, so he created a foundation to help with that. So it's something that is close to his heart. And in 2020, he volunteered for Camp Rainbow Gold. It's a charity for children. He also is interested in production, so he has a production company called Company Films with a friend. His name is Stefan Hamel, and also he's very much interested in motorcycles. So he has co-founded Art Motorcycle Company, which actually builds and sells custom-made motorcycles. So when it comes to Reeves' career, it's very much what we see when it comes to sensor perceivers. So they are the type of individuals who are pretty restless at school. So they'll often be expelled or just create havoc because sensor perceivers tend to have a short attention span, and if something is not interesting or engaging, they usually cannot focus. So the fact that Keanu Reeves actually, decided to drop out of school at age 17, this is something that is common when it comes to sensor perceivers, especially when he discovered that acting was better for him. So also you'll see that they again gravitate towards entertainment. So they're the type of people who are actors, singers, dancers, but also they'll be interested in producing movies, so being behind the camera, or even in terms of having companies, whether in his case he has a motorcycle company, or even in terms of they'll also create maybe foundations as well. So they tend to be the generous type. So that is typical of sensor perceivers. The other aspect when it comes to Keanu Reeves is that since I would say that he's a sensor perceiver, whether or not he's a masculine or a feminine energy. And I would say that Keanu Reeves comes across more as a masculine energy in the sense that he seems to be very interested in things that are very physical. So he seems to be rather athletic. So he liked hockey. He wanted to be part of the Olympic team. So you have to be at a high level to actually even think about doing that. But if you look at his movies as well, like John Wick or even The Matrix, so he seems to be very interested in things that have to do with involving himself, physically doing most of his stunts. I mean, he's 57 years old, and we look at the John Wick movies. I mean, he does most of his stunts, which is pretty amazing for someone in his 50s. So I would lean more towards someone who is more of a masculine energy than a feminine one, and he doesn't come across as very sort of like emotionally in touch with himself. Like I would say that, let's say if you had like an emotional issue, like Keanu Reeves doesn't seem the type to be able to understand his emotion or even somebody else. So for me, when it comes to femininity, it has to do with someone who is empathetic, someone who is sort of like open to that, who's able to understand subtleties about relationships, and it doesn't seem to come across that way. So he seems more like a masculine energy versus a feminine energy. The other aspect is whether or not Keanu Reeves is an introvert versus extrovert. I would say that he comes across, to me, and I think to a lot of people, as an introvert. So he describes himself as a shy person. He has been dubbed, the ultimate introvert when it comes to Hollywood. So he's someone who gets recharged by being alone, or maybe with one or two other individual. And he's the type of person probably who feels that, going to interviews, red carpets, these are obviously necessary because he's an actor, but I don't think he seems to enjoy it. He seems to fidget. Let's if you watch him in a number of interviews, it's like his body language really says like, I'm just here to do my job, but I want to be out. So for all these reasons, I would say that Keanu Reeves is most likely an ISTP. You can let me know if you agree or disagree with this personality type assessment by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.